All right, Alexander, let's talk about what's going on with GameStop and
Mm,
short selling. And this is a massive story.
mm,
It's a really fascinating story as well. And
mm,
so basically, we have a large group on Reddit.
mm.
From what I understand, it numbers around 250,000 people.
Yeah.
That's from the last reports. This is a significant Reddit group,
Mm,
and basically they've pooled their resources together to stop Wall Street, these uh, these hedge funds,
mm,
these vulture capitalists,
mm.
these hedge funds from destroying GameStop.
Yeah.
And this is basically what they were looking to do. They were looking to short sell GameStop, and the short selling was done in an effort to drive down the stock so low. I've heard reports that they actually wanted to drive it all the way down to zero,
Mm,
and they were just going to make tons of money off of the short selling, driving the stock to zero from borrowing the stock, driving the stock down, and then selling that stock at a massive profit.
mm,
And the way they've been doing this for so many years and decades
mm,
is these hedge fund guys, these Wall Street guys, they get their mainstream media cronies,
mm,
and they themselves end up on all these financial shows, and they talk about the stocks that people shouldn't buy or they shouldn't sell, and how these companies are doing poorly. And one of them was GameStop, and of course GameStop is getting beaten by the lockdowns
mm,
and by the pandemic, and of course by online retailers. So all these things, and their goal was to just drive this thing down to zero. Anyway, this group, this Reddit group, and they also have a Discord channel as well. This Reddit group put a stop to it. They got together and they put a stop to the GameStop tanking from the hedge funds. And now we are seeing the ultimate hypocrisy in that people are actually going after this group on Reddit. And all they're doing is basically what Wall Street has been doing for so many decades. But basically, these guys, they started buying the stock. So they started to drive the price higher. And that puts a tremendous risk and a tremendous loss to the hedge funds who are trying to make it lower. So I mean, they've made companies are tanking. Melvin Capital is one. I mean, they are losing billions because this group got together and they started to drive the stock of GameStop up. I mean, it's like it's a massive trajectory. So anyway, that's some basic background on short selling and what's been happening. What do you make of this story?
Well, I found it completely liberating. I think it's high time this happened. I mean, I should say, not so very long ago, I used to work in the city. I used to sort of advise people in the so-called financial community, and I was extremely concerned, if I can say so. I mean, concern is perhaps not quite the right word, but I mean, what you said, the way you described it about people, these big hedge funds, investment houses getting together, targeting a particular company, working together to a greater extent, far greater extent than people realize and know, because these are small places and they talk to each other and they know what they're all doing, and pushing prices down, or when they want to, pushing prices up, working all the channels on the media to sort of give people some idea that this is somehow based on some kind of fundamental market knowledge, which is frankly nonsense most of the time. Anyway, I saw it for myself. And what's now happened is that these institutional investors, not really institutional investors, but let's call them that, the establishment, the investment establishment, are finally losing control. And that's great. That's fantastic. I mean, that's my own personal view, because investing in companies should not be controlled or manipulated in this way. And if people get together and they exchange information and they come along and they basically support companies or do these sort of things, firstly, I don't think that will make in the end for worse investing. This is a complete misunderstanding of what actually goes on in Wall Street. And secondly, when you talk about hypocrisy, you are absolutely right. I mean, these guys have beaten the financial establishment at its own game. And of course, the financial establishment is furious, but there we are. So I say good for them. I mean, I'm sorry if that's a little bit strong, but that's my own personal view. I think this is wonderful news. I wonder, however, how long they'll be allowed to do it, because I can imagine that there must be extremely angry people in Wall Street, and those people are not without influence. They're major donors, as we know, to political campaigns. Joe Biden himself has connections to them. So I wonder for how long that will go on. But you know, up to in respect of what they done, good. Hypocrisy, well, as I said, absolutely. I mean, all these criticisms that I'm hearing are ridiculous and absurd, but I wonder for how long this will be allowed to go on.
Yeah, so the group on Reddit is actually called Wall Street Bets. Discord has taken down that group's like a sister group on Discord server, and Discord cited hate speech, which is completely ridiculous. Melvin Capital has closed out now its position on GameStop. They took a beating. I think they actually had to borrow from other funds in order to cover for their losses. Brutal, absolutely brutal. And we already have some fallout, and this story is breaking, and that is that Robinhood, the very popular app, that the whole premise of the app is that it allows people to actually buy stocks, to get involved in stocks and trading on a very personal level. On buy stocks with only say $100 or $200 in your bank account, or I mean that's Robinhood's whole premise, to make trading very accessible to everybody. Now they have made it impossible to buy GameStop. They've actually blocked people. Robinhood app is completely done. They are finished because they've completely gone against their entire business model. But that goes with what you said, that Wall Street is now going to go after this Reddit group. They're going to go after these guys. They've already obviously they've put pressure on Robinhood to halt buying in GameStop, and also AMC. I have to say AMC, the movie theaters, for obvious reasons. They're tanking the movie theaters, obviously, because of the lockdowns and all that stuff. They're already starting. They are already starting, Wall Street, to go after these guys, and I find it absolutely hilarious on one level, because they actually have beat Wall Street at their own game. But I also am worried about this large group of people, because we've seen after what happened on January 6th, for example, when you cross these guys' paths, they're absolutely sinister, and they'll stop at nothing to get at you. And finally, this is very personal to them, because they're actually hitting them in their pocketbook. Good for them. Good for what these guys did. Absolutely good for them. But they're hitting Wall Street in their pocketbook, and God help these people. They are going to go after Wall Street. Wall Street is going to go after them like you've never seen.
Yes. So a couple of things. Firstly, here again we see an app which sets itself out as the gateway for people who want to invest by themselves. And what happens is, when powerful people get hurt or annoyed, the gateway, which has been spoken about and which has marketed itself as this way for people to invest by themselves, that gateway slams shut. And we discover that, in fact, the app, the people who run it are not opening the gateway. They're actually gatekeepers. And, well, we've seen so much of that over the last few years, and we've seen so much of that over the last few months. This idea that the internet was going to open things up and empower people, well, we can see that there is definitely a push to prevent that and to stop it and to control all of these different ways of people either saying what they want to say or doing what they want to do, taking on the establishment, which they're entitled to do. I mean, there's no reason why people can't buy shares, engage in financial, activities of this kind. There's nothing that They're not doing anything illegal. There's no suggestion that that any crimes were committed, that anything was wrong. But they took on the establishment at its own game. They won. They caused the establishment to lose lots of money. And as a result, their access is now being restricted. And at the same time, what we also see is the exposure of the fact that Wall Street has become an oligarchy. It doesn't actually operate in order to help the wider economy. I think nobody thinks that. It's not there to help people buy and sell shares in any way. It's these companies themselves. They want to control the market. That, of course, reverses the whole idea of what a market is. A market is supposed to be a place where people go and buy and sell freely. But we see that the people who run Wall Street don't want the financial markets to work in that way. They want to control them, and they are doing so. And that's, again, another exposure of the reality that we're seeing around us. So we see all of these things are connected, and we see again how there's a tech oligarchy, there's a financial oligarchy, and they're working together. I'm glad they were beaten this time. And as I said, I found it liberating that it happened, but we'll see that they will do everything they possibly can to make it more difficult for the same thing to happen in future. I predict, though, that the people who've done this thing, this community that did this thing, who are obviously tech savvy and young and nimble, many of them will find ways round. And I suspect that before very long, all of these attempts to sort of close things down, to control the markets, it will turn out that they're impossible. But that's the big revelation about the story for me.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a massive witch hunt for all these guys, all 250,000 of them. For this, I'm absolutely certain about.
Yes.
I wish it wasn't so, but like I said, they're hitting Wall Street in their pocketbook, and Wall Street is not going to let it go. And it shows what's really disgusting about this. It shows the unholy alliance between Silicon Valley and Wall Street, because the fact that a Silicon Valley, a tech app like Robinhood, I don't know if it's Silicon Valley funded, though I'm sure it has venture capital from Silicon Valley. I'm almost certain about that. But the fact that Robinhood has blocked people from buying GameStop and AMC is absolutely disgusting, because while they're blocking everyday people, app users from buying this, they're allowing all the Wall Street people to cover their positions. Exactly. I mean, that's what they're doing, because Wall Street they're not buying stocks with Robinhood. That's for damn sure. They're covering their positions. So they're getting away with this. They're minimizing their losses that they were about to incur, even though they were looking to completely bankrupt and destroy GameStop and make a killing. We're seeing the unholy alliance between tech and Wall Street, Silicon Valley and Wall Street. And the first thing that these guys did is they cut off the communication line of this group of people in Discord, and I'm sure Reddit is next. So they're going to work with Silicon Valley platforms as well to start cutting off communication lines, and then they're just going to go after these people. This is terrible, and they're going after these people for something that they did that Wall Street has been doing for so many freaking decades and getting away with.
Well, of course, exactly. I mean, what have these people done which is firstly against the law? I mean, I know nothing that they've done which is against the law. And secondly, which is something that is different from what Wall Street routinely does. I mean, the only thing that makes them different is that they are not part of the Wall Street community. They took on the Wall Street community and they beat the Wall Street community. And as a result, a lot of people on Wall Street, the establishment, lost a lot of money. And yet despite the fact that they've broken no law, despite the fact that they breached no contracts, despite the fact that there's in no conceivable sense done anything that is illegal or unlawful or unethical, we see that the powers, Silicon Valley, Wall Street, are coming after them. They're being blocked from dealing. And as you correctly say, the big financial houses, they of course continue to deal as they always have. And Silicon Valley or the tech companies or whoever they are helping Wall Street cover its positions, make money for itself. They're not actually allowing people, hundreds of thousands of people, to do that independently of Wall Street. On the contrary, they are blocking them from doing so. So it's an oligarchy. It's an oligarchy of money, and it's an oligarchy of tech. And the two work hand in hand.
Yeah. I mean, finally, on a final note, the problem here is if they want to find something illegal, the Department of Justice, they will. They'll find something. They'll throw the book at these people, and they'll find something like I don't know, collusion to drive up a stock price or something along those lines. I don't know what, but they'll find something.
Exactly. I mean, I should qualify that. They will. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to rummage through the law books to come up with something that they can bring charges against some of these people for. Though, as you said, in practice, what they were trying to, what they did was that they saved a company, or at least for a temporary period, which some people in Wall Street looked like they wanted to drive down. So, it seems completely ludicrous in some ways, but that's what no doubt is going to happen. But on the face of it, they have committed no crime, breached no law, broken no contract. All they have done is that they've made some people in Wall Street poorer, some very rich people in Wall Street, poorer than they were and much poorer than they expected to be. Is that a crime if it's done legally? Well, it's business. It's supposed to be business. It's supposed to be the market. But of course, in today's world, it is increasingly becoming so. Can I say again, it is completely contrary to what the United States used to stand for. The United States used to stand for free markets, free activity in those markets, people coming together, investing by themselves, setting up their own businesses, doing all those sort of things. This oligarchical control, both of markets and of information through the tech companies, is completely un-American. And I wonder for how long it can continue. But, how long it can continue is one question. At the moment, it exists, and we've seen it in operation again.
Yeah, well, a lot of things are changing in America for the worse. Yeah. All right, Alexander Mercurs, thank you very much, guys. If you like this video, click on that subscribe button on BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey. That's where you'll find us. And also make sure to go to the Duran shop, pick up some merchandise to help out this channel. Pick up a magic mug, hoodie, shirts, got all kinds of great products. Absolutely, great products, hats, hoodies, sweatshirts. And can I just also say, of course, the feedback we get from people who buy our products is enthusiastic, because we've set out to provide the best quality products. It's our respect to our viewers, and at the same time, of course, you back us, you support us by coming to our shop. And Alex has told you about our platforms, our other platforms, and you can also support us through Patreon, Subscribestar, PayPal, and I think we accept Bitcoin too. So support us in that way, and also please come to our next program. All right. Thank you very much. Until next time, everybody, take care.